Boxing Source here was good, and of course we had the news that came down this evening in reference to Saul Canelo Alvarez, and Alvarez is a little bit bothered with what has been going on between him, Golden Boy, and DAZN. Of course, we know about the deal that he signed with DAZN through Golden Boy. 10 fights, $350 million. That was, a guaranteed contract, so to speak. And the thing about it is that, of course, we've had the issues with the pandemic thing going on. So he did not have his fight in May, right? And he also did or will not have his fight for September. Usually with the schedule, he has a fight around Cinco de Mayo weekend and, Mexican Independence Day weekend. This would have, this coming weekend would have been when Canelo would fight. But for the second consecutive year, that's not the case. Last year, he ended up fighting Sergey Kovalev in November. But this year, with the whole thing with, this COVID-19 business, everything hasn't really been, back to what it's supposed to be. And even though we do have boxing, we don't have Canelo in action. And of course, the latest thing was that Canelo was slated to, fight in the, instance where he would kind of defend his titles, over at middleweight, or he would be fighting at super middleweight. There was talk about him fighting Abney Yildirim, but that isn't something that DAZN was cool with, given his average of a $35 million purse payout. Fighting Abney Yildirim is not necessarily a good thing to have, as far as like putting down at least $40 million in a purse for Canelo Alvarez to fight Abney Yildirim. Now, we've talked about the whole situation with Canelo's contract many times before. That was mainly between skipper of DAZN and Golden Boy, whether it was Oscar De La Hoya or any other representatives for Golden Boy Promotions, right? So, with that being said, the fights that Canelo has had, over the course of the contract, apparently hasn't been to the approval of DAZN. This is through, a report that happened in The Athletic through Mike Coppinger, that was, posted sometime last week, right? So, you have the thing there with the deal that Canelo has, under Golden Boy Promotions, right? And this is something that, DAZN was, now looking at the numbers, and it's like, we're not getting the returns that we, want to get with Canelo Alvarez having this fight. So we're going to have to do something about his contract. And the thing about it is like, well, this is, a guaranteed type contract. And with it being like a guaranteed contract of sorts, right? No matter who he fights, he gets paid pretty much a minimum guarantee of $30 to $35 million. So with him having the fights that he's had, it hasn't really, showed any returns for DAZN. So now they're like, we're going to have to do something about this contract. And so they didn't want to, necessarily honor the guarantee. or at least for Canelo's next fight, which would have been against Adam Yoderem, or they could have, tried to have a fight between him and Callum Smith, or against him and Billy Joe Saunders, who was the, slated opponent for Canelo Alvarez in May, before, this whole thing with COVID-19, right? But, even with that, there was a little bit of a clause in the contract that, no matter what happens, no matter what the situation is within the world or whatever it is, whenever Canelo has a fight, DAZN and them still have to pay off the guarantee. They're the ones who, put in the backing for that contract to happen. Pretty much like, Floyd's deal with Showtime. But the thing is, with Showtime has that pay-per-view, so, they make money on the back end of that deal, But, with Canelo Alvarez, this is, through an app or of some sort, pretty much like, how HBO has their apps and Showtime has their apps, but everything through, DAZN is OTT, so they have to get subscribers. This is not something to the point where it's like, okay, you have one fight and it's pay-per-view and it's such and such amount of money and people just buy the pay-per-view. No, like people pay, either a set price per month, $19.99 per month, or something like $100 a year. I'm not sure like what the, DAZN service thing is right now, but, and they're not getting the subscribers that they need to, say that they're making money from the fights that Canelo is having. So they're like, whoa, we can't be paying off this amount of money for Canelo's fights if we're not getting, what we want to get off this deal. And Canelo's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Y'all the ones that, signed off on the guarantee. So no matter when I fight, no matter who I fight, y'all gonna have to pay me. And since they didn't want to pay, now Canelo Alvarez, or, Santos Saul Alvarez Barragan, his government name, is suing DAZN and Golden Boy for them not coming through on their contract. So now we have the issue of Canelo Alvarez and DAZN and Golden Boy, and this is nothing pretty much new, so to speak. We've seen multiple clashes between Canelo Alvarez and Golden Boy in reference to the issues with Canelo getting fights, and issues with Canelo and his contract. So for him to have this type of spat between him and Golden Boy is not much of a surprise, but this thing here with DAZN is pretty big, because if he is able to win off this, then either he'll be broken off the contract, not just with DAZN but with Golden Boy, and that leaves him as a free agent. But that's something that kind of like seen happen. This is something that goes on with the biggest stars in the sport of boxing. They end up going on their own. We've seen it with Canelo. I mean, not with Canelo, excuse me. We've seen it with Oscar De La Hoya, right? We seen it with Floyd Mayweather. Eventually, Miguel Cotto, had his own little promotional thing going on. So now it's, Canelo's turn. Now it's Canelo's turn, right? And, with Canelo, this is going to be something to, kind of like see, because I want to know if Canelo Alvarez will end up being on, maybe Showtime or something like that, and he'll be back on pay-per-view. So that's something that we're going to be looking out for here. Be sure to subscribe to the Boxing Source here on YouTube, and we have our podcast scheduled for Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to catch that. Until next time, catch y'all later. Peace out.